I'd like to welcome Jimmy Stice to the stage. What do you think of episode 4? You had not seen it.
Yeah, that's my first time seeing episode 4.
And happy birthday. It's his 35th birthday, man.
How many Kalayala alumni are in the audience have lights in my eyes? Is there anyone who actually is an alumni? We got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5. Oh, we got everybody else back. We got 6. Okay. So we've got 6 people who have been in the jungle, who spent time down there. We've got the parents of a couple people who are in the jungle right now in the audience, and it's all, you know, when you take 1,500 hours and compress it to 10, it gets pretty fucking intense. Usually we're kind of hanging out in hammocks and having a good time, but and I've got a little bit of like vanity shock right now, but I know I'm the villain in the show if you didn't pick up on it yet. Sure.
Potential cast members, and then I cut together like a little short film and 13 individual reels, like 80 minutes of stuff when they wanted 8 minutes, and they wanted it by August 1st, and I turned it, oh, it was July we went down. I turned it in July 21st and said, I know I'm turning it in 9 days early, and it's 10 times the amount that you wanted to watch, but I need an answer in a week. And because we have to put solar in, and we have to build a media center, and there's nowhere for the crew to sleep. And 1 week later, Spike Jones called and said, asked me a bunch of questions, and then greenlit it like on the phone. They could have asked about a week earlier. But anyway, so we got a lot of responses, probably 30 people, and from that we looked deeper into it. I called a bunch of people, we did pre-interviews, figured out who, and then there were 5 of us field producers. We all sprayed across like Canada, Scotland, America, showed up, and we would just do like a day. Like I went to Catania's house. I went in the area because I also had to run the show. Abby, San Luis Obispo. I went to Vegas, all in like, I think 2 of them were in 1 day. And then some people we actually just got on their planes.
Do you have any concern with the release of the show? When you guys already work really hard to vet the students and interview them, that then the attention that the show is going to give to the school, to the institute, will affect the candidates and the students who are like, that could sort of be for better and for worse in a sense. Like there's the ones who are coming for the right reasons, and then the ones who are like, ooh, TV, I want to be, you know.
You know, we've been concerned about that. Due to what Kalayala is like and what Andi Timender films are like, I think that it's not necessarily going to be creating a show where you're going to New York to live in a nice apartment with a bunch of young people. Sure. You know, I think that it's going to actually help vet things. Like one of the reasons I wanted Andi to come down and capture the story was because if you go to our website, I'm a pretty aspirational person in terms of how I think and how I project and what I'm trying to do. And sometimes I don't have the authority as the owner of the company to speak from a third-party perspective and show the hard parts of it. Yeah, and so part of it was like our website conversation on our social media, our Instagram is the pretty version of our lives, you know what I mean? Like most people's. And then Andi kind of came in and really I think is gonna help us screen people better because she's telling both sides of the story.
The objective kind of dose of reality.
Yeah.
And so what was I mean, you guys have a relationship that goes back, you know, further obviously in the show, but that can sometimes be in a little bit in conflict. So what was that like? You're wanting to present, obviously, hey, these are all my favorite parts about this. This is why people love it, but there's obviously more to it than that. So how were you able to kind of navigate or get the kind of freedom to be able to show everything you want to show?
Well, I believe in the form of something following the content. So I don't ever walk into a place or to a person. You know, it's one thing to be casually hanging out with Jimmy. It's another thing to be his filmmaker, you know.
A lot of these kind of communities, and we look for like who's succeeding and where are they failing, and let's, instead of being idealistic, I always say idealism that doesn't work isn't ideal. So let's be realistic about who humans are, what has to happen for something to be successful, and let's see who's doing that right now. So there's a bunch more, there's a huge list. If you just start Googling like top intentional communities, You'll find a lot of different ones, and some of them have been around for 50 years. Esalen in Big Sur has a really similar model to us, but they're not trying to build a town. They're doing research, and they've got students who pay to come there for a semester, and then some of them get offered jobs at the end of it. And but it's it's where the KGB and the CIA met secretly to end the Cold War.
I don't even know how to sum it up.
or even touch points or teasers or.
It's more of that, what you saw. It's more of challenges that happen to everyone there, basically, and working, learning and figuring out solutions. I mean, I think, just hearing Jimmy talk about the actual footprint being blown away by the flight there, I feel like the best thing about this show is that it actually makes that whole thing carbon negative, because the lessons that you'll see and learn in this. I made a film about climate change in 2010 called Cool It. So I only decided to do it. I don't usually do movies that are that kind of didactic. I just felt like we were facing climate disaster, which we are, and that nobody was really focusing on the solutions. So I went to laboratories all over the world and focused on really pragmatic solutions. And it was put out by Roadside Attractions, which is a huge distribution company, $2 million film. And I don't know how many people watched it. Maybe people are still watching it. I don't know. But same thing with An Inconvenient Truth, or so many other films. I could name so many that are made on this topic in different aspects of the topic. But people don't want to watch that when they come home from a tired day at work and they're stressed out. It's like work to watch it.